know the average American owns about 35 t-shirts, and on average these t-shirts cost $15 each. That's about $500 just in t-shirts. I myself own over 40 t-shirts, and of these, at least 15 of them are sorority letter t-shirts. Now these sorority letter t-shirts cost about $20 if you buy them in store, but they can be made for $8. Today I'm going to show you how to make them at home by telling you what materials to buy, how to make the letters into fabric, and how to attach this fabric to your t-shirt. Let's first look at what materials you're going to need to make these t-shirts. Now first you need to pick out two types of fabric. The only really important detail about this fabric is that it's cotton blend. Now you usually pick two different types of fabric, one pattern and one solid. Now the solid is going to be your bottom layer and the pattern is going to be your top layer. Next you're going to need to pick out an adhesive. Of all of the adhesives that I've used so far and all the t-shirts that I've made, Heat & Bond is my favorite. Now this is what Heat & Bond looks like. It has one textured side and one papered side. And it's sold by the yard and it costs about $2 for an eighth of a yard. Now there's two different types of Heat & Bond that you can buy, Heat & Bond Light and Heat & Bond Ultra. If you plan to sew on top of your letters after you've applied it to the t-shirt, you're going to want to use Heat & Bond Light. But if you do not plan on sewing, you can use Heat & Bond Ultra. It's just a difference of the adhesive and how much they're going to be durable underneath the sewing machine. Next, if you do plan on sewing it, you're going to need to buy thread. This thread usually matches the two layers, but honestly, any thread that works in a sewing machine will do just fine. Now, the big deal product is the t-shirt. You can honestly do a t-shirt, sweatshirt, sweatpants, shorts, tank top, anything, as long as it's a cotton blend as well. And on top of all of these supplies that you're going to have to buy, you're also going to have to dig around your house and get some things like scissors, an iron, a sewing machine, and a printer and a scanner. You also might want to get a razor blade just to cut out the small parts of your fabric and your paper. So now that you know what materials to do, we can actually start making the t-shirt. So first, you're going to want to actually put the letters onto fabric. So first, you're going to need to make a stencil. And by doing this, I actually had an existing t-shirt, this one, that I scanned using my printer. And this allowed me to have a cutout of my stencils. So after I scanned it, I made two copies. And those two copies, I cut out this layer right here, the gray one, and that acted as my bottom layer. And I cut out this blue one for my top layer. So you have these two stencils right here, top and bottom. After you do that, you're going to want to trace these stencils onto your fabric using pencil and on the top side of your fabric. So you can see right here that I laid it on top of my fabric where I wanted it, and I traced it using pencil. It's really important that you use pencil just so that after you bind it on your t-shirt, if there's still pencil markings here and there, you can always erase it. And then with the different layers actually created and cut into squares, like this one, you can actually start applying it to the t-shirt. This is where the Heat & Bond comes in. And so how you're actually going to do this is you're going to place the Heat & Bond on the back of the fabric with the texture side down, so the paper side is up. And this is going to be on the back side of your fabric. So on one side you have your stencil, one side you have your paper. And when you do that, you're going to pass the iron over once or twice just so to make sure that you're not burning the Heat & Bond or the fabric. And it's going to end up looking like this, with the Heat & Bond square a little bit smaller than your fabric. After that, you are going to actually cut out the letter that was traced on the front of your fabric, just like this. So on one side you have your letter and your print, and on the other you have your paper side. Now it seems like we're almost done having the letters actually cut out and ready to iron on, but the next step is really important, the way that you order, the way you iron them on. So first you're going to want to iron on your base layer. This is because you don't want to burn through your shirt or waste your adhesive. So what you'll do is you'll peel the back off, place them and center them on your shirt, just the bottom layer at first, and you'll iron them on, each getting one or two passes of the iron. And next you will center your printed top layer on top of that letter and do just the same thing, each getting one or two passes of the iron. From there, if you have chosen to sew your letters onto the t-shirt, you can use either a straight or a zigzag stitch on a sewing machine, and you're just going to trace along each letter using the sewing machine. It's really easy. And that leaves you with your t-shirt. I have this one that I made for the 4th of July, and you can see my base layer was white and my top layers were printed stripes and dots. And then In conclusion, you're able to see that instead of buying these t-shirts for $20, you can actually make them for just $8. And on top of saving time and money, you can actually have a unique way to show your support for any organization that you're involved in.